What a joyful minister she is. You guys must be happy to come here every Wednesday and see Minister Dana Morris Dixon up here because she just brings joy. And you know, she claims to be the best ministry, and because she takes care of all the children, I'll just say the business ministry. Because we pay the taxes that make sure that the children get educated. But, you know, I'm just happy to be here this morning to be part of a government that is so absolutely transparent. Minister Dana Morris Dixon is absolutely right. Wherever I go around the country, and sometimes you won't recognize me when I go around the country, I have on a cap and tennis shoes and so on, but the policemen know, and they're always so happy to tell you that crime is down. You know, it reminds me of a few years ago. Every week you'll hear on the radio, oh, we only have 8 more weeks of money to buy imported goods, and we have 11 weeks of money, and now for 3, 4, 5 years, nobody talks about that. Because our net international reserves is at, I just got the number for March. I used to talk for the past 3 months, I said 5.5 billion US dollars. It's now up to 5.785 billion US dollars for the quarter just finished in March. Now we're going to say, oh, we don't spend the money. We're spending $44 billion on roads. But there's a reason why this is important. That stability of the Jamaican dollar and the keeping down, the pressuring down of inflation is because we have that reserve. Without that reserve, the currency would be devaluing every single day, and devaluation and inflation are the biggest theft of wealth, especially from those who have the least amount of wealth. So it's good to have that. It's a good place to start. But what I really want to talk about this morning is Expo. Mr. Sidney Thwaites is here, the president of Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association. Mrs. Kamesha Blake is here as well. And Oswald, my friend, who used to play tennis, he's now gone to fly expensive aeroplanes and not play tennis anymore. So he was in charge, he was a man in charge of doing the expo. My own Shulette Cox couldn't be here. She has to be in Montego Bay doing some other business. But Ms. Linton is here, the VP, who really was in charge of the JAMPRO end of the business. JAMPRO and JMEA, JAMPRO, agency, one of the 20 agencies in this ministry, and JMEA did a fantastic job. And that's what I want to tell you a little bit about before I take questions. Expo Jamaica is the largest exhibition and trade show in the English-speaking Caribbean. Held biannually every 2 years, this flagship event showcases the diversity, quality, and innovation of Jamaican goods and services across a wide array of industries: agriculture, manufacturing, tourism, technology, logistics, and the creative industries. The event typically attracts a general audience of 16 to 20,000 Jamaican patrons. And if you were there this weekend, whether it was Saturday or Sunday or Friday, it was just ram-packed. We also had a second event right there, which was, which calls commission, the president, a little bit of anxiety in terms of logistics. But it helped because when they finished running, they came across and looked at the products as well. So we were able to host those 2 events, and the expo took place between April 4th and 6th this past weekend at the National Indoors Sports Center and the National Arena. Expo Jamaica provides Jamaican businesses the opportunity to present their products and services directly to high potential domestic and foreign buyers. It also serves as a tool for promoting trade and investment by connecting exporters with buyers, distributors, and investors from across the globe. We had buyers from about 25 countries. The buyers' reception we had on April 2nd at the Pegasus was really jam-packed. I was there, was happy to be there, and in collaboration with the JMEA, it went very well. Again, JAMPRO was leading the ministry's effort there. Held at the Pegasus, it engendered high-level overseas overview of Jamaica's manufacturing and logistics capacity. That became especially important at the time when we're talking about logistics. I just met, just leaving a meeting with a prospective incoming BPO company. And they're so happy. They have businesses in all parts of Asia. They've been there, they go there, and they're so happy to come here to Jamaica. They're going to deal with one of our high-level BPO operators here. And the proximity is great, and especially at this time when tariffs, the issue of tariffs is so much in the air. So you have high-level overview of Jamaica's manufacturing and logistics capacity, direct engagement between government, industry leaders, and buyers, and it provided insights on the navigating Jamaica's investment landscape, which is constantly changing and improving. And it facilitated networking environment for strategic business-to-business assignment. Those 25 countries included North America and the United States and Canada, of course, Europe, the United Kingdom, Germany, elsewhere, Latin America, Mexico, Peru, El Salvador, Asia and the Middle East, India, Oman, Africa, Ghana, and the Caribbean, of course, Antigua, Trinidad and Tobago, Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands, Dominica, Barbados, and St. Lucia and Bahamas. These markets represent strategic trade opportunities for Jamaica, especially within CARICOM, the diaspora markets, and global supply chains seeking nearshoring solutions. This, again, is especially so in a time when tariffs dominate the news. We have a geographical proximity to the largest market in the world that we have been selling for a long time. Certainly all the time in my ministry, 2.5 years, everywhere I go. Kamisha has been in some of my business missions. She's heard me. The geographic location is so fantastic. Now it is becoming so vital because people are now looking to come to Jamaica as a place to invest, near shore, set up your Jamaican company, and off you go. And thank God, if there's any thanking to be had, we are at the lower level of the tariff range. Buyers represented a wide range of key industries, food and beverages, chemicals and pharmaceuticals, textile and apparel, digital and professional services, including ICT, BPO, and financial services. Financial services is something Jamaica is going to have to grow into to become the rich country we must, because we cannot continue to sell to less than 3 million people with a per capita GDP of less than 7,000 become rich. We have to find new markets. The existing ones are good, but they haven't made us rich. We have to find new ones, rich ones, to make sure we can sell more goods and services too. So electrical and electronics were on play, hospitality and tourism always there in the space, and environmental solutions. We had 884 buyers attended the Jamaican Export. That's a record. Big records. I mean, we don't have any people in here who clap, but Jamie needs a big clap, and Jampro and the ministry and all of us who work to make it clear. We had over 450 were foreign buyers. We had 440 official business meetings. These are the official ones. And people are in there, they meet people, they go out and have their meetings. Those are just the ones recorded through Jampro. Because once you get there, you start doing business. And, you know, we had people go and check. The MSME Sydney people were just over the moon. They said, we're selling so much, we have orders to go, and that's a part of the economy that grows. The big companies were there, of course, Grace, Recinco, Jamaica Brothers Group, they're all there, and they're all happy to be there. And these meetings involve sample requests, quote for submissions, and advanced deal discussions. Export Max. Export Max is a product of Jampro. Jampro, again, the leading investment and export agency for the government through the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. So we had in Export Max cohorts from cohort 4, agribusiness were there, non-food manufacturing, global digital services, that's BPO. Media impact was huge. We had for Jamaica 2025, Expo 2025, promoted through a multi-platform promotional blitz. We have cross-promotion. we have media mix, we have outcome of over 800,000 views across new and returning audiences. So we had 50 public and private sector partners there all across our industries, logistics, everybody. So we're very happy to see what Expo 2025 was. Remind you that Expo 2023, when we came out of the pandemic, the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce sponsored that. I had to explain to my Prime Minister that, no, Prime Minister, we don't do this regularly. In fact, we don't do it at all. But we don't have pandemics every day. So I had to make sure we go in front of the people who want to display their products, and we supported last year, but all our 20 agencies were supporters this year. I'll take questions on that, but one item that Minister Vaz is going to explain a great deal on, we're making it easier for the transport sector to get the vehicles that they need. Collaboratively, his ministry and mine work together to make the new arrangements for the importing of vehicles. For 10 years, we moved from 8 years to 10 years for vehicles that take 8 passengers. Others, we move from 10 to 15 years, and making sure that we make it as equitable as possible. He will give you details on that, just to say that this is how this government works. We collaborate to make sure these things happen, and we've collaborated with a lot of other ministries on other things that we're doing. That's my piece. Do I take questions? No, because I have to go and make a speech, Minister, so let me out of here as soon as you can.
Naomi's here. We get to hear Naomi's beautiful voice. Taking the questions, Minister Hill is here. Are there any questions for Minister Hill? I know we have some big announcements coming up from Minister Vaz, so let's go with the questions. Over to you, Naomi.
Good morning, everyone here still nationwide. So, Minister, we know that the government has already reacted to the 10% tariffs that were announced by U.S. President Donald Trump. But he also announced, I believe yesterday, that he'd be putting on an additional tariff on imports from China. So that's pretty much raised it to 104% in certain goods that they import. Now, that isn't Jamaica. Those are two completely different countries. But given how much of a global powerhouse both countries are, do you see it potentially impacting operations in Jamaica?
Not immediately. However, one must have a caveat on that. When you have two elephants of the size of the first and second largest economies in the world in what is now clearly a tariff battle, you have to be very, very much aware and nimble to make sure you find the places where we're not the target. We don't sell fentanyl to anybody. We don't have a border from which people are moving into the United States. And we have a very large negative trade balance, unlike other countries that have very large positive trade balances against the U.S. So we don't see us directly, but we're doing different studies. Ministry of Foreign Affairs leads that because we have the CBI. The CBI, we're not clear yet. We don't have the documentation that tells us yes or no the CBI is going to continue, because it's something that President Reagan, a Republican, put in, or no, CBI has gone away and across the board there's with 10%. And if that happens, we then have to say who else is in the 10% category, because the lowest one. And any of those in that 10% category, do they sell the stuff that we sell to the United States? Some may, but they may actually be located in Africa or Asia. We then have clearly a competitive advantage from location, the geographic location I spoke about just now. So we then have that, even if there were 10%, but some of them who sell the stuff that we sell to the United States, maybe in the 15, 25, or 35% category. And we then must find the ways, which is what we as Jamaicans have done in the past 10 years. We have been able to overcome the pandemic. We didn't raise taxes, we didn't borrow any more money to do it, And in fact, we've had through that entire period of time 10 consecutive budgets without any raising of taxes. We have gone through Barry last year and Rafael or whatever the other storm was called, and again 6 months of so-so rain. So, and yet we managed that. So we think we're in a position to be wise enough not to get into that war. We're not getting into it. We're quietly, silently, strategically looking at how best we get through this with the benefit of Jamaicans at the tip. That's our job. We must look after Jamaicans, and we take that very seriously. So we think there are opportunities. I know from my experience running companies and banks that for every obstacle, Mahiri, whether it's in your business or mine, there are 15 to 20 opportunities that come with it. Let's find them and make sure they make the work for us.
All right, thank you, Minister. Very complex matters, but we'll be dealing with it. Are there any other questions? Because I think the media is also very cognizant that we have 3 ministers today.
That should cover everything. that one answer. So I'm done,
all right,
Minister.
Yes, thank you, Minister.
Thank you so much,
you very much.
Minister Hill.
And forgive me, I must go on to something else, but you have 2 wonderful ministers here.
All right.